Who am I here?
Jerry.
Jerry Blake. Thank you, honey.
The Stepfather wasn't supposed to work. A tiny budget, a near unknown lead actor, and a story so disturbing it almost went straight to video. But somehow, it became a cult classic that predicted a real serial killer's capture. Behind the scenes, method acting that terrified the cast, real injuries, and a production that nearly got shut down by Canadian tax authorities. Here are 20 weird facts about the Stepfather you didn't know, and they're stranger than the fiction. Fact number 1, the film predicted a real killer's capture. The movie was inspired by John List, a family annihilator who'd been hiding for 18 years. Here's the twisted part. List killed his wife, mother, and 3 children in 1971 and vanished. The Stepfather came out in 1987, but List wasn't caught until 1989. The film essentially predicted his capture through sheer coincidence. Reality and fiction collided in the most unsettling way possible. Even the FBI took notice.
The Lord around here, huh?
Fact number 2, the studio wanted a slasher film. Screenwriter Donald E. Westlake fought tooth and nail to keep the psychological horror elements intact. The studio initially wanted gratuitous gore and typical slasher kills. Westlake threatened to remove his name from the project if they dumbed it down. This creative battle nearly killed the film before it started. Sometimes the best movies happen when writers refuse to compromise.
This punk was trying to rape our daughter.
I just kissed her goodnight.
Fact number 3, a tax scam almost shut down production. The Vancouver shoot was nearly destroyed when Canadian authorities discovered the film was being classified as a documentary to avoid higher filming fees. This risky move could have landed the producers in legal hot water. The investigation lasted weeks while the cast sat in limbo. They literally lied to the government to make their movie. The audacity actually worked. Fact number 4, one house, multiple identities. The budget was so tight they couldn't afford multiple sets. Every different house Jerry Blake lives in is actually the same house with different furniture and camera angles. It's a brilliant metaphor for the character's multiple identities that nobody noticed. The production's biggest limitation became its most clever visual storytelling trick. Sometimes constraints breed creativity. Fact number 5, a disastrous opening weekend. The Stepfather grossed only $260,587 in its opening weekend across 148 theaters. The studio had such little faith, they nearly sent it straight to video. This embarrassingly small release almost killed the film's chances completely, but word of mouth saved it from obscurity. The movie that studios didn't believe in became a genre classic. Fact number 6, Terry OQuinn's method, acting scared everyone. O'Quinn later admitted he stayed partially in character during lunch breaks, genuinely frightening his co-stars with Jerry Blake's unsettling mannerisms. He'd practice different personas between takes, switching accents and personality traits while casually eating sandwiches. The crew started avoiding him during downtime because his transformation was so complete and disturbing. His commitment to the role was so intense, it created real psychological tension on set. O'Quinn would study family photos and create elaborate backstories for each of Jerry's false identities. He'd walk around, set muttering lines like,
Who am I here?
while staring at his reflection in windows and mirrors. Cast members reported feeling genuinely uneasy around him, never knowing which version of Terry they were talking to. The line between performance and reality became dangerously blurred. Director Joseph Rubin had to establish character-free zones where O'Quinn had to drop the persona completely. Even craft services workers complained about his intense stares and strange small talk. The method approach created authentic fear that enhanced everyone's performances. Fact number 7, Jill Scholans' complete meltdown. During the basement chase scene, Scholan was so terrified of O'Quinn's performance, she refused to be alone with him on set without supervision. She demanded a handler be present during all their scenes together, claiming his transformation into Jerry Blake was too convincing. Her fear was so genuine, it enhanced her performance beyond anything acting classes could teach. The terror you see on screen is completely authentic. She wasn't acting scared, she was actually scared. Scholans later revealed that OQuinn would sometimes stay in character between takes, continuing to stalk her with Jerry's predatory movements. The crew had to establish safe words so she could call for breaks when the intensity became overwhelming. Her genuine panic reactions created some of the film's most memorable moments. The basement scene required multiple takes because Scholans kept breaking character to flee from OQuinn's advances. Sometimes the best acting comes from tapping into real emotions. The psychological horror worked because the fear was absolutely real. Her authentic terror became the film's emotional anchor.
No! Help!
Fact number 8. Shelly Hacks' scenes were brutally cut. Test audiences found Hacks' character too stupid to live, leading to heated arguments with director Joseph Rubin about her portrayal. Her role was drastically reduced after multiple disastrous screenings, where audiences literally laughed at her obliviousness. Hack threatened to quit multiple times during extensive reshoots, calling the cuts character assassination. The studio's lack of faith in her performance created massive on-set tension that affected the entire production. Originally, her character was supposed to have more scenes, showing her gradual realization of Jerry's true nature. But test audiences found her so frustratingly blind to obvious warning signs that they turned against the film. Focus groups used words like unbelievably stupid and insulting to women to describe her character. The cuts weren't just about screen time, they were about audience sympathy. Hack's reduced presence actually improved the film's pacing and made Jerry's manipulation more believable. Sometimes, less really is more. The editing room became a battleground between artistic vision and audience expectations.
No, Jerry!
Fact number 9. Real blood in the mirror scene. OQuinn cut his hand on broken glass during the famous identity-switching mirror scene, but continued the take without breaking character. The blood you see streaming down his hand is completely real, not movie makeup. He incorporated genuine pain and shock into his performance, creating one of the film's most authentically unsettling moments. The crew didn't realize what had happened until after cut was called and they saw him bleeding. OQuinn later said the real pain helped him tap into Jerry Blake's psychological fracturing. The mirror scene was already intense, but the accidental injury added a layer of genuine vulnerability that couldn't be scripted. Paramedics were called to treat the cut, but OQuinn insisted on finishing the scene first. The real blood mixing with fake blood created a visceral authenticity that audiences could somehow sense. Sometimes the best moments are completely unplanned accidents. The scene became even more powerful because OQuinn's pain was feeding directly into Jerry's mental breakdown. Real suffering enhanced fictional madness. Fact number 10. Child actors were traumatized. The young actors playing Jerry's victims in the opening scene were so disturbed by the fake blood and realistic gore that child psychologists had to be brought to set. One child actor had nightmares for weeks after filming, repeatedly asking his parents if the bad man was really dead. His parents threatened to sue the production for psychological damage. The film's realism was almost too convincing for its youngest performers, who couldn't separate fiction from reality. The child actors had been told it was just pretend, but OQuinn's intense performance made them genuinely fear for their safety. Between takes, they would cling to their parents and refuse to go near the set. The trauma was real, even if the violence wasn't. Child welfare advocates later used the incident to push for stricter regulations on minors in horror films. Sometimes protecting young performers means limiting their exposure to adult themes.
I have a daughter, too. She's a few years older than you. Her name is Stephanie.
Fact number 11.
Who am I here?
Scene was improvised. The script simply said, Jerry practices his personas, but OQuinn created the entire terrifying monologue spontaneously during filming. He cycled through different identities while staring at his reflection, each voice and mannerism completely distinct. This improvised moment became the film's most iconic and psychologically disturbing scene. The raw horror came from pure creative instinct, not careful scripting. OQuinn drew on his theater background to create multiple characters in real time. He'd practiced the persona switching during his method preparation, but the specific dialogue was pure improvisation. The crew was so mesmerized they forgot to call cut when the scene naturally ended. Director Joseph Rubin later called it the most chilling acting I've ever witnessed. The mirror became a window into Jerry's fractured psyche, showing how he literally tried on different identities like clothing. Sometimes the best writing happens without a script at all. The improvisation captured something authentic about dissociative behavior that no scripted scene could match.
Wait a minute. Who am I here?
Jerry.
Jerry Blake.
Fact number 12, a real saw blade accident. During the lumberyard scene, OQuinn accidentally cut himself with a real saw blade that was supposed to be a safe prop. Instead of stopping or calling for medical attention, he incorporated the genuine pain into his performance seamlessly. The shock and horror on his face is completely authentic. You're watching a man actually injure himself on camera. The crew kept rolling because the moment was so powerful and unexpected. OQuinn later revealed he was so deep in character that stopping never occurred to him. The real danger created real terror that no special effects could replicate. The accident happened because a prop master had mistakenly placed a real blade in the scene. OQuinn's commitment to staying in character nearly cost him serious injury. The scene's intensity comes from actual physical peril. Real wounds made Jerry Blake's violence feel more immediate and threatening. Fact number 13, unscripted bird attacks. The bird attacks throughout the film weren't planned. They were real birds interfering with outdoor Vancouver shoots. Director Joseph Rubin decided they added to the ominous atmosphere and kept them in the final cut. Nature accidentally became part of the horror aesthetic. The universe seemed to be conspiring to make the film more unsettling. The birds were particularly aggressive during early morning shoots, dive-bombing actors and crew members. Initially, the production team tried to shoo them away, but the chaotic energy they brought enhanced the film's sense of impending doom. Sometimes the best special effects are completely natural and uncontrolled. The birds seemed to sense the dark energy of the production and responded accordingly. Their presence reinforced the film's themes about domestic spaces being invaded by outside threats. Fact number 14, a scream that cracked windows. Jill Scholans' scream during the basement chase was so piercing and sustained that it actually cracked one of the house's windows. The sound crew had to completely re-record the audio because the original was deemed too disturbing for general audiences. Her terror was so genuine, it became structurally damaging to the building. The performance literally broke the set in ways no one anticipated. Sound technicians measured the scream at levels that exceeded safety thresholds for film audio. The crack appeared in a basement window during the climactic chase scene, creating a spiderweb pattern that had to be carefully edited out. Scholans' lung capacity and vocal power were so extraordinary that she could sustain terrified screams longer than most professional singers. The broken window became a symbol of how authentic emotion can transcend technical limitations. Sometimes, the most powerful performances leave literal marks on their environment. Fact number 15, an ad-libbed line became the marketing campaign. "Wait till you meet my family" was completely improvised by OQuinn during a scene where he was supposed to say something generic and forgettable. The line worked so well, it became central to the film's entire marketing campaign and poster design. One spontaneous moment of dark humor defined the promotional strategy. The best taglines aren't written by marketing teams. They emerge from authentic character moments. OQuinn delivered the line with such chilling casualness that it perfectly captured Jerry Blake's twisted psychology. It became shorthand for the film's unique blend of suburban normalcy and hidden menace. Sometimes the most memorable movie quotes happen when actors trust their instincts over the written word. The line's success proved that organic moments often resonate more powerfully than carefully crafted marketing copy.
That a man could be driven to do something like that to his own family, to his children, I don't even want to know about it.
Fact number 16, OQuinn refused the remake. When approached for a cameo appearance in the 2009 remake, O'Quinn immediately turned it down because he thought it was soulless and would damage the original's reputation. He protected his artistic legacy by refusing what would have been easy money. The remake's director, Nelson McCormick, personally flew to meet O'Quinn to convince him, but O'Quinn was adamant about not participating. He'd read the script and felt it missed everything that made the original psychologically compelling. The remake flopped spectacularly, proving O'Quinn's instincts were absolutely right. His refusal to participate became a badge of honor that protected his performance's integrity. The remake's failure vindicated his decision to stay away from the project. Artistic integrity proved more valuable than a quick paycheck. His absence from the remake helped preserve the original's cult status and reputation. Fact number 17. Typecasting nearly destroyed his career. O'Quinn struggled to get non-villainous roles for years after The Stepfather, fearing he'd be forever typecast as a homicidal maniac. Casting directors couldn't see past Jerry Blake's menacing presence to imagine him in other roles. His career was essentially frozen by his own success. The performance was so convincing that Hollywood assumed he was naturally sinister. He spent years fighting against the image, turning down similar psychopath roles that would have been lucrative. His career was finally revived by playing the complex John Locke on the television series Lost, which showed his range beyond horror. The role that made him famous nearly ended his career completely. The typecasting battle lasted over a decade before he found redemption. His experience became a cautionary tale about the double-edged sword of breakthrough performances. Fact number 18. Serial killers became fans. FBI profilers noted that several family annihilators in the 1990s had copies of The Stepfather in their personal possessions, leading to serious concerns about copycat crimes. The movie accidentally became a blueprint for real violence and manipulation tactics. Art imitating life, then life imitating art in the most disturbing cycle imaginable. Several killers had watched the movie multiple times before committing their crimes. The FBI began using the film as a training tool to understand family annihilator psychology. Fiction and reality merged in the most nightmarish way possible. The movie's psychological accuracy made it both brilliant art and dangerous inspiration. Sometimes creating authentic characters means creating templates for real evil. The unintended consequences of realistic storytelling became a criminal justice concern.
He's dead, Steph.
What happened?
Police say he lost control of his car. It's one of those stupid unnecessary accidents.
Fact number 19. A deleted scene, too disturbing to show. A deleted scene showing Jerry Blake's practice runs with other families was deemed so psychologically disturbing that it was permanently locked in the studio vault. Even the film's experienced editor refused to work on it, calling the footage genuinely evil. The scene showed Jerry methodically rehearsing his family infiltration techniques with previous victims. Some footage is too dark for any audience to witness. The scene that never saw daylight remains the film's most terrifying moment. Studio executives who viewed it reported feeling physically ill. The content was so disturbing that it transcended entertainment and became genuinely traumatic. Multiple people involved in the scene's creation requested therapy afterward. The footage was sealed and reportedly destroyed to prevent it from ever being released. Even in an era of extreme horror, some boundaries shouldn't be crossed. The deleted scene became legend among horror fans who could only imagine its contents. Sometimes the most horrifying moments are the ones we never see.
Next time, Jim, call before you drop by.
Fact number 20. The real John List complained. The actual John List watched the film in prison and complained that Terry O'Quinn's portrayal made him look too crazy. List insisted he was perfectly rational in his actions. The real killer thought the fictional version was too unhinged. Reality proved more terrifying than fiction. Sometimes the truth is more disturbing than any movie. It started as a disaster, but somehow that disaster became a classic that's still terrifying audiences today. If you're into strange movie secrets and the dark side of Hollywood history, hit subscribe, because we're just getting started with the weirdest stories cinema has to offer. The Stepfather proved that sometimes the most disturbing films come from the most chaotic productions. And that's exactly what makes them unforgettable.